The Galactic Coalition of Sentient Species has a saying: if you can identify a human special forces operative, you're either already dead or they want you to see them. This helpful bit of wisdom appears on page 1 of the Coalition's Xenology Handbook, right after the chapter titled, Why Humans Are Simultaneously the Worst and Best Allies You Could Ask For. Throughout the known universe, the reputation of human special forces had reached mythic proportions. Stories were told in dingy space bars and high council chambers alike of black-clad ghosts who appeared from nowhere, completed impossible missions, and vanished without a trace. The problem was, no one could agree on what these terrifying creatures actually looked like. They wear all black with face paint, insisted the Araxian ambassador. No, they're in green with leaves attached to their bodies, countered the Zephyrian general. You're both wrong. They wear the skins of their enemies, added the Tellurian diplomat, who had clearly been drinking too much fermented nebula juice. This confusion wasn't accidental. The United Earth Command considered it their greatest tactical advantage that no alien species could reliably identify their special operatives, and it drove the Coalition absolutely nuts. Which is why Agent Klix'ta of the Galactic Intelligence Bureau found herself dispatched on what her superiors called a mission of utmost importance, but what she personally categorized as a suicide assignment no one else was stupid enough to take. Her mission: infiltrate a human military base, identify their special forces, document their uniforms, and return with actionable intelligence. Klix'ta, a shapeshifter from the gaseous plains of Morphin, had the unique ability to alter her form to resemble most bipedal species. She had successfully infiltrated 17 different civilizations without detection. But humans, they were different, unpredictable, but dangerous. Dangerous. Just don't get caught, her supervisor had said helpfully. The last agent we sent hasn't been heard from in 3 solar cycles. What happened to them? Klix'ta had asked. Best case scenario, they're dead. Worst case, they're answering questions. With that comforting thought, Klix'ta prepared for her mission, studying every scrap of human intelligence the Coalition had gathered. Unfortunately, this amounted to contradictory reports, blurry photographs, and one particularly unhelpful drunken account from a Regalian merchant who claimed human special forces looked like regular humans but scarier. Great. Just great. 2 cycles before her mission, Klix'ta attended the annual Interspecies Military Intelligence Conference held on the neutral space station Harmonia. Representatives from 37 spacefaring civilizations gathered to share information about potential threats, with humans being at the top of everyone's list. The conference room resembled a circus more than a military briefing. A holographic projector in the center displayed various alleged human special forces uniforms, each wildly different from the last. This is what they wore during the Proxima Centauri incident, announced General Zach Lahr of the Centaurian Defense Force, pointing to an image of humans in desert-colored attire with faces covered in tan fabric. Impossible, hissed Commander Vex of the Draconian Armada. When they infiltrated our weapons facility on Rigel IV, they wore these. The hologram shifted to humans in white winter gear. You're both mistaken, chirped Admiral Pipipe of the Avian Confederation. Our surveillance caught them wearing these during the Betelgeuse operation. The image changed to humans in what appeared to be civilian clothing, jeans and t-shirts. Klix'ta watched in mounting confusion as each species presented their definitive evidence, none of which matched. Either every alien race was hallucinating, or humans had no standard uniform whatsoever. The conference reached its climax when Commander Gorks stomped into the room. A legend among the Coalition forces, Gorks was the only known survivor of a direct encounter with human special forces. The scarred, 6-limbed veteran moved with a permanent limp, one eye replaced with a cybernetic implant that never stopped whirring nervously. You're all wrong, Gorks growled, silencing the room. Human special forces don't wear uniforms. The assembled aliens stared in confusion. But that's against all military protocols, sputtered General Zach Lahr. Exactly, Gork said, his cybernetic eye spinning faster. They don't follow rules. They don't follow patterns. That's what makes them dangerous. Gorks activated his personal hologram projector, displaying footage from his encounter on the mining colony Ceres. The video showed ordinary-looking humans in various outfits, business attire, maintenance uniforms, even a chef's hat suddenly transforming into lethal combatants. They were everywhere, Gorks whispered. His voice haunted. The janitor, the administrative assistant, the cook, all of them. We never saw it coming. The room fell silent until Admiral Pip nervously chirped, "But how do we identify them?" Gorks's organic eye narrowed. "That's the point. You can't." Leaving the conference, Klix'ta felt a growing sense of dread. If Gorks was right, her mission was even more impossible than she'd thought, but the Coalition needed answers, and she was their best chance of getting them. Fort Bradley, Earth's largest military training facility, sprawled across what humans called the American Midwest. Klix'ta had chosen her infiltration point carefully, a storage facility on the base's eastern perimeter, supposedly understaffed during the night shift. Her human disguise was perfect, a young female with short brown hair and the appropriate uniform of a maintenance worker, complete with identification badge that read Lisa Johnson. The first part of her plan went smoothly. Too smoothly, actually, which immediately made Klix'ta suspicious. Humans were supposed to be paranoid and security conscious, yet she'd walked through 3 checkpoints with barely a glance from the guards. Either human security was grossly exaggerated, or she was walking into a trap. By midday, Klix'ta had accessed the base's central complex, ostensibly to fix a malfunctioning air conditioning unit. As she wandered the corridors, she observed humans in a bewildering variety of attire. Some wore camouflage patterns in various colors. "Bandit out base. Maschantro. Tasser. Wintolobo." Others wore plain green or tan uniforms. Some were in physical training gear, shorts and t-shirts, and most confusingly, one group wore what appeared to be Hawaiian shirts and cargo pants. "Lost?" asked a voice behind her. Klix'ta nearly jumped out of her human skin. She turned to find a tall, muscular human male with a disarming smile and an equally disarming Hawaiian shirt decorated with pineapples. "I'm looking for the officers' quarters," she said, sticking to her cover story. "Air conditioning unit needs maintenance." "Ah, you must be new," the human said, extending his hand. "I'm Captain Jack Dunn, Recreation Division." Klix'ta hesitated before shaking his hand. Recreation Division? Was that a military unit? His grip was firm but not threatening. "Lisa Johnson," she replied. "Maintenance." "Well, Lisa from Maintenance, you're in the wrong section entirely. The officers' quarters are in D block. This is Special Training Wing C." Special training. Klix'ta's senses went on high alert. Was this where they trained their special forces? "I'll show you the way," Captain Dunn offered, gesturing down the corridor. "I was heading that direction anyway." As they walked, Klix'ta studied the captain from the corner of her eye. He moved with a relaxed gait, but there was something about his awareness, the way his eyes constantly scanned their surroundings, that seemed at odds with his casual appearance. "So, Recreation Division," Klix'ta ventured. "What exactly do you do?" "Oh, I organize leisure activities for the troops," Dunn replied cheerfully. "Sports competitions, movie nights, barbecues. It keeps morale up." "And the Hawaiian shirt? Is that standard issue?" Dunn laughed. "God, no. Friday is Hawaiian shirt day, totally voluntary, but most of the rec team participates." They passed a group of humans in pristine dress uniforms, then another in what appeared to be full combat gear. Klix'ta's confusion deepened. "Here we are," Dunn said, stopping at a large door, officers' quarters. "The maintenance office is just down that hall if you need tools." He pointed to a corridor on the right. "Thank you, Captain," Klix'ta said. "No problem at all." "Lisa from Maintenance," Dunn replied with a wink. "Enjoy your day." As he walked away, whistling a cheerful tune, Klix'ta couldn't shake the feeling that Captain Jack Dunn was far more than he appeared to be. But was he Special Forces? Or just another red herring in this confusing human base? Over the next 3 days, Klix'ta observed, documented, and categorized every type of uniform, and human on the base. Her list had grown to 17 distinct categories, and she was no closer to identifying which humans belonged to the legendary special forces. The humans in combat fatigue seemed too obvious, the ones in dress uniforms too formal, the physical training instructors too visible, the administrative staff too administrative. And then there were the anomalies, like the group that wore those ridiculous Hawaiian shirts, or the civilians who came and went from restricted areas without challenge, or the janitor who seemed to speak 7 different languages while mopping the floors. On her 4th day, Klix'ta followed a promising lead, a secured facility requiring multiple clearances. After cloning an officer's access card, she slipped inside, expecting to finally discover the Special Forces headquarters. Instead, she found herself in what appeared to be a daycare center. Small human children ran around, supervised by adults in casual clothing. One of them, a woman with curly red hair, approached Klix'ta with a friendly smile. "Can I help you?" "I'm here to check the air conditioning," Klix'ta stammered. "Again?" "They just fixed it yesterday," the woman said, her smile never wavering. "But sure, go ahead. Kids, give the nice maintenance lady some space." Klix'ta pretended to inspect the vents while internally panicking. Why would a high-security military base have a daycare center? Were the children part of some bizarre human training program? Or were they simply the offspring of personnel? As she was leaving, Klix'ta bumped into Captain Dunn again. "Lisa, fancy meeting you here," he said, carrying what appeared to be a box of toys. "Captain," she nodded, trying to appear casual. "You work with the children too?" "Sometimes. Today I'm just delivering supplies." He set down the box. "How's the air conditioning business?" "Busy," she replied. "Lots of units to check." "I bet," Dunn said, his eyes twinkling with what Klix'ta could swear was amusement. "Say, a bunch of us are having a barbecue tonight. You should come. Great way to meet people on base." Before Klix'ta could formulate an excuse, Dunn had written down the location and time on a slip of paper and pressed it into her hand. "Nothing fancy. Just burgers and beer. See you there." "Maybe," Klix'ta said, pocketing the paper. As she continued her investigation that afternoon, Klix'ta began to feel a creeping sense of paranoia. Was it possible that Dunn and others had identified her as an infiltrator? Were they playing with her? Several times she caught humans watching her, only to smile and wave when she noticed them. The final straw came when she accessed the base's personnel files and found something shocking. There was no Special Forces division listed anywhere, not under that name or any obvious code name. Either the humans had hidden their elite units under impenetrable layers of bureaucracy, or Commander Gorks was right. They didn't exist as a distinct unit at all. That night, against her better judgment, Klix'ta decided to attend the barbecue. If nothing else, it would be an opportunity to observe humans in a social setting. Perhaps alcohol would loosen their tongues. As she approached the designated location, an open area near the officers housing, Klix'ta saw about 30 humans gathered around grills and picnic tables. Some wore civilian clothes, others their various uniforms. Captain Dunn, still in his Hawaiian shirt, waved her over. "Lisa, you made it," he called, handing her a brown bottle. "Beer?" The gathering seemed harmless enough. Humans cooking meat, drinking, laughing. But as the evening progressed, Klix'ta noticed something odd. The conversations, which seemed random and casual, occasionally contained phrases that made no sense in context. Humans would say things like "the eagle flies at midnight" or "remember the sunset in Tangiers," and others would nod as if this was perfectly normal barbecue talk. Were they sending coded messages? Was this entire gathering some kind of elaborate communication system? By the time Klix'ta excused herself, her head was spinning with theories. She needed to report her findings, incomplete as they were. Tomorrow, she would try one last desperate measure, accessing the base commander's office directly. The next morning, Klix'ta put her final plan into action. Using her cloned access card and a maintenance request form, she gained entry to the administrative wing where the base commander's office was located. The corridor was surprisingly empty, and the commander's assistant conveniently away from her desk. Too convenient, a voice in her head warned. Ignoring it, Klix'ta slipped into the office and began searching the commander's computer. If special forces existed on this base, surely the commanding officer would have records. 5 minutes into her search, the office door opened. Klix'ta froze as Captain Dunn walked in, still wearing that ridiculous Hawaiian shirt, but now accompanied by the red-haired woman from the daycare and the multilingual janitor. "Lisa," Dunn said, his voice no longer friendly. Or should I say, Agent Klix'ta of the Galactic Intelligence Bureau. Klix'ta's heart sank. "I don't know what you're talking about," she tried, but her voice lacked conviction. "Please," the red-haired woman said, rolling her eyes. "We identified you within 20 minutes of your arrival on base. Your DNA signature is quite distinctive to our scanners." "I'm just a maintenance worker," Klix'ta insisted, reaching slowly for the concealed weapon in her pocket. "I wouldn't," said the janitor, who suddenly held a small but lethal-looking device pointed at her, a morphonic disruptor, specifically designed for shapeshifters. "And blast, and you'll be a puddle on the floor." Klix'ta raised her hands slowly. "How did you know? Besides the DNA." Dunn laughed. "You kept asking about special forces. Real maintenance workers don't care about military divisions. They just fix things and go home." "So you are special forces," Klix'ta said, looking at the three humans. The red-haired woman smiled. "Why would you think that?" "Because you caught me. You knew I was an alien spy." "Knowing there's a spy doesn't make us special forces," the janitor said with a shrug. "It just makes us observant." Before Klix'ta could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the base. Red lights flashed in the corridor outside. "Ah," said Dunn. "Right on time." "What's happening?" Klix'ta demanded. "Security breach," the red-haired woman said casually. "Standard protocol." The office door burst open again, and humans flooded in, but not the uniformed security personnel Klix'ta expected. Instead, it was the Hawaiian shirt group, the daycare workers, several administrative assistants, and even what appeared to be the cafeteria staff. All of them now moved with precision and purpose, their formerly casual demeanors replaced with disciplined efficiency. They surrounded Klix'ta, weapons drawn. "Now," said Dunn, his posture subtly transformed, "I believe you came here looking for human special forces. Congratulations. You found us." Klix'ta looked around in disbelief. "All of you. But you're just regular base personnel." "Are we?" asked the red-haired woman, who now held a command tablet. "Or is that exactly what special forces would want you to think?" Understanding dawned on Klix'ta with horrifying clarity. "You hide in plain sight. No uniforms, no special designations. You're embedded throughout the base, performing real jobs, until you're needed." "Smart alien," said the janitor approvingly. "But why show me now?" Klix'ta asked. "Why not just eliminate me?" Dunn smiled, but it no longer reached his eyes, because dead spies tell no tales. But living ones? They can be quite useful messengers. The red-haired woman tapped her tablet. "You've been gathering intelligence on us for days, recording everything, looking for patterns, trying to figure out which of us are the special operatives." "And you found nothing," added the janitor, "because there's nothing to find. No special uniform, no distinct insignia, no separate barracks, nothing. It's a tall human in a chef's outfit stepped forward. "We could be anyone," he said. "The cook serving your meal. The mechanic fixing your ship," added a woman in grease-stained coveralls. "The diplomat negotiating your treaty," said an elegant older man in formal attire. "Even," Dunn said with a wink, "the recreation coordinator organizing a barbecue." Klix'ta looked around the room, suddenly seeing the humans in a new light. "Your entire approach to special operations is decentralized." "We prefer the term adaptable," Dunn replied. "Every human in the United Earth Command goes through the same basic combat training. Some of us simply receive additional education and continue to perform our regular jobs added the red-haired woman, until we're activated. This is insane, Klix'ta said. How do you coordinate? How do you maintain operational security? How do you even know who's who? The janitor laughed. That's the beauty of it. Most of the time we don't need to know. We're just regular people with regular jobs. But when the situation calls for it, we adapt. Finished. Done. Now, Agent Klix'ta, we have a proposition for you. Klix'ta squared her shoulders, convinced she was about to be offered the choice between a quick death or painful interrogation. I won't betray the coalition. Who's asking you to? The red-haired woman said. Actually, we'd like you to deliver a message, an accurate report of exactly what you've learned here. Which is? Nothing, Klix'ta said, confused. Precisely. Dunn smiled. You came looking for our Special Forces uniforms, and you discovered that there are none. That's the message. The janitor nodded. Tell your superiors they're wasting resources trying to identify us by what we wear. It doesn't work that way. So you're just letting me go? Klix'ta asked incredulously. After I infiltrated your base, stole your information, impersonated one of your personnel? With some conditions, Dunn said. First, we'll be keeping your shape-shifting equipment and other spy tech. You'll have to go home the old-fashioned way. Second, added the red-haired woman, we're installing a little tracking device, nothing invasive, just enough to know if you come back. And third, the janitor said, you need to understand one thing clearly. Next time won't be so friendly. Dunn leaned forward, his expression perfectly serious for the first time. Consider this a professional courtesy, Agent Klix'ta, one operative to another. We're letting you go because it serves our purposes. Don't mistake it for weakness. The alarms suddenly stopped, plunging the room into eerie silence. So, Dunn said, his smile returning as he extended his hand, do we have a deal?